Hello, it's me, your friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. Not really, of course, it's me. This is a pre-intro for my intro, which I've just decided on the way home from the Land Rover show. I did the Festival of the Unexceptional yesterday, but faced with competing with other YouTube channels, which of course I don't compete with, but there's going to be far bigger channels than me uploading Festival of the Unexceptional. I'm going to throw my Land Rover video up out of sequence before my festival videos. So, welcome to the Land Rover show on the 1st of August, and then in a week or so from now we'll go back in time, back to the 80s in fact, to the Festival of the Very Unexceptional on the next video. Until then, we'll now see a bloke who looks like me doing an intro, but outside.
There we go then. Morning everybody. We're at Gaydon in Warwickshire for the Land Rover event. It's the Range Rover 51st anniversary, I think, held back from last year when it should have been the 50th due to the unmentionable, which we won't talk about. We're here in Nessa, you can see in the background. I'm here with my good friend Paul from Live to Drive. We're joined at the hip this weekend. We've been everywhere. We've been everywhere together. We'll have a little, well, not the toilet now. We're going to have a shuffle around and see. That's copyrighted, I'm afraid, for Mr. Joseph Lloyd. I shouldn't use the word shuffle, but anyway, we just won't make it shambolic. How's that? So we'll have a shuffle around and we'll see what we can see. I've had 11 Land Rovers, so I know a little bit, but I am going to make myself foolish to the experts out there, no doubt, with some of my comments. So I'll put a caveat emptor in now, which is I don't know everything. A lot of it I've forgotten, but I'll try and give you some nuggets of information. See you in a bit. So this series 1 in a moment is going to do a simulated recovery of this bus, which I guess is what they used to do in the 60s, you know, before the health and safety gods took over. Absolutely nothing wrong with towing something that weighed 8 tons with something that weighs less than 2 tons. Why would there be? Who needs brakes, eh? Brakes are for quitters, that's what I say. So yeah, we'll film that in a minute. Arty shots involved for Live to Drive channel. So they've started the bus up just to get the air brakes on, I suppose. I'm guessing from memory that this will be literally a 2 litre petrol at maximum in this Land Rover by the sounds of it. Certainly doesn't sound very diesely, and it's not going to be very high powered, so I'm imagining we're going to have low box and first gear to get this going. No, so I just asked the guy who's actually going to be driving the Land Rover what was in it. It's a 1.6 petrol. The 2 litre was a bit later. As I've said, I'm not an 100% expert on Land Rovers by any means, just because I've had a few, but I've had no involvement in Series 1s at all. This is a Series 1 from, I think he said 1958. Again, my oldest Land Rover was a 69. So I don't know a great deal about these, but yeah, so 1.6 petrol pulling 8 tons of bus, I think he said. Oh, see, it makes yeah, well, it's not the moving it, Paul, it's the stopping it. You've got.
I think there's a lovely Jaguar building down there.
You imagine towing that back from a recovery, as they would have done,
Yes.
down a main road, and a small child eating an ice cream runs out in front of as they bounce off the front. Funny bloke in my shot. Right, we'll start my video anyway. You'll see Paul's variation of this on the Live to Drive channel, which we're doing many collaborations at the minute, but we'll just show you. We'll start with mine. Obviously you all know mine. Parked next to mine is a slightly older version than mine, but it's obviously been heavily modified. That's got a V8 in it. I'm not sure what it originally would have been, and it's obviously been tarted up a lot better than mine. You've got the big difference between them. You see how mine's on original wheels, this one's been lifted, although you can still see it's earlier than mine because it's got the different door handles. But other than that, new grille, fancy bits. Just wander through. 109 on an R-Edge Series 3. This would be an ex-army one, obviously, don't need to tell you that. Moving quickly on past the modern things. Never had a Discovery 3 myself. Freelander, I've had 2 of them in that shape. Never had a Range Rover. Nice early one, 2-door there. And I did have one of them, and that shape of Freelander is a Series 1 maybe, or maybe a 2. I apologise in advance. I am absolutely rubbish at anything pre-2A because I didn't have them. There's a Discovery TD5, I'll say this for Heather, AV, common as. Here we go with a nice Defender there. I had a 110 Defender in white, but it was fitted with a 200 TDI on a 55 plate. I'm guessing that's probably got a TD5 in it. This one says it's a TDI, so it's probably a 200 or a 300 TDI. And we've got a J-Reg 2A, I believe this would be, certainly by the hinges and yeah, the dash. So that is a 2A, genuine J-Reg 2A. Now later in the video you will see an AA Series 3 on a J-Reg, which confused me because I thought the first Series 3 were K-Regs. So I did actually do a double check and thought, is this a ringer? But it turns out it's a very, very early Series 3. So yeah, I'll show you that in a bit anyway. That'll be later on. It's obviously in AA livery. And there's the bus being towed by the Series 1 again. Anyway, I've gone completely off track, but luckily there were a lot of modern ones in, although there is a 200 TDI. Again, I had one of them, but a 3-door on a G-Reg. Wish I'd still got that now. You don't find many 3-door G-Reg with the Sherpa van headlights. And indeed, on the rear of these Discoveries, full nerd on fact, Rover Maestro van rear lights. So that's the back end of that row. Shall we do the back end? Why not? In fact, no, we won't. We may pan round to the back end. So we've got a Range Rover there. Again, not had one myself. Discovery 300 TDI there. I had an M-Reg one of them. Different facelift, different headlights, and slight minor differences, but there you go. We've got some nice original Defenders here. I do like I had a TD5 Defender, lovely sounding engine. One of the modern ones there, Pretender Defender. Sorry for those of you that have got one, but if you can afford 70 grand for that, I'm sure you can take a joke. Yeah, much prefer. There's the difference. I was showing Paul this earlier. This is a late Defender. You can tell by the bonnet bulge. So this will have the Ford engine in it, or a variant of a Ford based engine. I think it was a 2.2 PSA. And you can see it's still kept the pressings for the air vents at the front, but they no longer work. Right next to an original, see the air vents are still there and the bonnet's lower. This will have, well, this is actually a V8, but it will have a Land Rover engine in based on that. There's a TD5, so should compare that to that really. You can see that the bonnet's different. TD5 was a 5-cylinder 2.5 litre, lovely engine. They were great to drive. There'll be a 200 TDI in that one. And I do like these. I never had one. I really wish I'd had one of these. An air portable, or lightweight as they're known. Nice. Again, Pretender Defender. Series 3 Discovery G4 Challenge is what the tamed down version of the Camel Trophy became. E-Reg 110. That may, on an E-Reg, have the 2.5 litre turbo engine in like mine, on an E, I think. Again, another air portable. Another Discovery 3. Nice late Defender there. That's obviously not an S-Reg, it's a private plate because of the, obviously you tell by the bonnet, it's got the later engine in, so I'd imagine 2013 onwards maybe. Freelander 2. I think this one is probably a Metropolis. Certainly it's a high spec one. I had a Freelander 2, I liked it. This one is obviously homage to the first Land Rover HUE 166. You can see this is D15 HUE. This is probably one of the last ones made in the heritage livery. Very nice. And then the HUE plate continues on that one. Again, the late one, a bonnet bulge gives it away. And then one that's been tricked up lovely. I don't like the bling myself, but you know, each their own. And then a Discovery Sport, I believe that was called. I think that eventually turns into the, you know, the Range Rover Velar or whatever they call the modern ones now. They discontinued the Discovery name. There you go. While I'm waiting for my cohort Paul, I'll do these Freelanders. So an R-Edge there. It's one of the very first Freelanders, that is. I actually had one in that colour. It was an 1800 petrol with a K series in it. Braemar it was called. It was a dealer special from Scotland, registered in Aberdeen, SW reg. So that was a 51 plate, but that on an R is one of the earliest ones that you'll see. On an 03 is probably one of the latest ones in that shape, 53. I think they changed on that to that shape on the 04, yeah, the facelifted version you'll see. And an 06 and a 56 is one of the last ones you'll see in that shape before they went to the Freelander 2. I'm just going to glimpse past these. I've got nothing against them. They were great cars to drive, but I think in Land Rover circles we all admit that they're very capable, but they're limited by what they are. You know, they haven't got the clearance, and they're not as capable, but they are good for what they are. You know, I'm sure that one, for example, would do far more damage than mine could do, but I think they ought to be kept for what they are, which is soft road, as I'd call them. But yeah, I mean, there we go, a few Freelanders. Yeah, so you'll see me mention a few times in the video, don't take my word for gospel. I always say this. I've had 11 Land Rovers, as I've said. Some of my knowledge is buried deep in the past and I've forgotten about it. Some of it's as factual as Wikipedia. But I've got a rough idea of what I'm talking about. But if you want to put in the comments, Rick, you're a knob, I'll totally understand that. Let's do another row while my cohort seems to have gone missing. He's probably found something that's painted fairy pink or something, and he's now asking the owner if he can film it for his channel. In typical me fashion, because these are facing the wrong way, I'm going to wave the camera left to right and just film bits and bobs. So memory tells me that this was, I think, one of the 50th anniversary colours, but again, it could be wrong, although with it saying R50 on the plate, it's possible. Don't shoot me in the comments. Early one there. I think this is going to be a 130 or a 127 wheelbase. I'm guessing it's an ex-army ambulance that's been converted, but again, not 100% sure. Quickly flick over to the TD5, only because I've had one. So they were very nice to drive, very nice. F-Reg 2A, that's going to be the same age as me on a 68. Yeah, so 53 years old or thereabouts. One of the last 2As with the inboard headlights. You'll see that certainly later Fs and Gs had them in the wings. Modernish Range Rovers, but I think these were called P38s. All I remember about these, probably factually incorrect as an Allegro's wheels falling off, is that electrically they were a nightmare. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. G-Reg 110. I mean, I don't get these modern ones, but yeah, it's because I'm old, isn't it? Or it's because it's of my time, I guess. I'd probably put your mortgage on the fact that a bloke called Nigel owns that. I wouldn't put mine on it, obviously. What else we got here? G-Reg 110. Mine was a H, my 110 on a 200 TDI. Again, it's so G. What's that? 89, I guess. It's still badged as a 110, that, and not a Defender. So that's on the cusp before the when the Discovery came out. Is when they changed the name to Defender. Up until then, they were just called 90s and 110s. In case you didn't know, it's a 90 there. That's a Wolf spec one, ex-army. Different sides on them. Do like them. Might have a wander around that, see if I can have a nosy. Sliding windows like the old days, and the ultimate security device there. You actually got to steer that with your bum hole. Moving on. Slightly embarrassing if the person inside the back heard me say that they had to steer it with their bum hole, because she didn't look like she'd got a big enough bum. I don't know what that colour is, but it's a very nice colour. Lovely TD5, which has had shiny on it. There we go. It goes faster, you see, because it's green. Actually, it's not. It's an environmental engine, that is. It's painted green, therefore it doesn't poison little kittens. Maybe. Here's a Defender 110 with a nice tent on the back. Lovely. Although I think I prefer my camper van. When I saw this Range Rover drive in, I actually saw it from a distance and thought, what the hell has someone come in a Toyota Hilux? Bear in mind I only saw the front of it, and then I realised it had got monster truck wheels on it. That is awesome. Certainly he's going to get more places than I can. In mine, the grey one's nice. And Freelander 2 again. Lots of Pretender Defenders up here. If you're watching this channel because you found me through Land Rovers, by the way, viewer, I must apologise. You'll get my humour if you stick with me. I drive an Allegro, for God's sake, so I'm the first to take the mickey out of myself. But those of us, I've had Land Rovers since I was 20. I'm 53 now. I just can't. I can't see the benefit of these drug dealer mobiles, as I call them. I know this sounds awful. Me driving an Austin Allegro, the height of something that someone takes the mickey out of, then, you know, pigeonholing something like that, but nah, it doesn't do it for me. The same as the early ones don't really do it for me, if I'm honest. It's just what you've had. Started off with a Series 3, Series 2A, 200 TDI Discoveries, 300 TDI Discoveries, 200 TDI Defenders, TD5 Defenders, TD5 Discoveries. Forgive me the 1800 Freelander, TD4 Freelander, Freelander 2, and now back in a 90 with the original 19J turbo engine in it. So I kind of like what I like, which is 70s and 80s and 90s stuff, which I guess is my childhood and stuff like that. You know, if I'd got 70 grand for that, or whatever it costs, can I have 10 of the other ones? Thank you very much. We'll mop up in front of the round building. The usual tat stalls. I've got to go and see if I can find a bumper, which I highly doubt here. There's not Land Rover sellers here as such, so anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you that. So we've got an early Camel Trophy Series 1 200 TDI, I'm guessing. Same with this Discovery here, it's an early on an L, although G's are earlier, it's still an early 4-door, or 5-door I guess. There's a G reg, so that's even earlier. Pre-production it says. That would be a pre-production 5-door, yes, exactly. They initially started off as a 3-door, which is what mine was. So this Land Rover, blah 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 blah. Yeah, so there you go. Again, see, if you look at this L reg, that's a 3-door, which is what they were only offered in originally on a G. I had a G reg one. 53 on a Series 2 Discovery there. I was hoping to find a G Reg 200 TDI. Doesn't look like I'm going to find one, as I'm just wandering through aimlessly. I actually thought that was a 2CV for a minute running. Turns out it wasn't. Could have been a hairdryer, I suppose. No, it's an M Reg. Trouble is, you can't really tell from the back, apart from the lights, of course. And what we got here is a TDI, so that'll be a 200 TDI and a H. And all ex-Camel trophies. And this is this Camel trophy, that's a G-WAC as we call them, which were Land Rover registered cars. I was looking for a G-WAC Discovery. Sadly, it doesn't look like I'm going to find one, just because they're sought after more with the G-WAC plate on for some reason. I don't know, who knows? Who knows? Not me. And now I've got to find Paul. Yeah, I've no idea where Paul's got to. So, what's that then? Oh, okay. So a 3-door V8 Discovery, that's an early one. I wonder how many of them are left in V8 form. Very tidy of that. Anyway, seeing as I can't find Paul, I'll have an amble down here. We did agree to do this later, but I have no idea where he went. So I'll just have a look at some of these before I get too carried away. So what we've got there is a 2A. Still older than I had. That's an A reg, so what's that, 63 I guess, I don't know. And then an Air Portable. It's an early one. Series 1 I guess. I'm apologising again because I'm no good on the older ones. That's an early series. Is it Series 2 I guess that. Again, an early Air Portable. This one drew me to it. I had a G-Reg Series 2A. This is when the lights changed over to outboard, and I think all to do with the Americans who wanted them more safely outboard than inboard, so you could tell the width of them. There's a 90, same as mine, before it was called a Defender, on a D-Reg again. I'd imagine that that's ex-Coast Guard in them colours, or airport or something. They, unless it's been painted to look like one. Yeah, there we go, look. Coast Guard. Drug that one from the memory banks. They always had yellow roofs. And there's an early G-Reg 3-door Discovery there. A later Defender. Again, bonnet bulge gives it away. And TD5 Discovery. I did want to do this bottom end a bit later because of the tannoy system, but there's a couple of forward controls there with the range dropped in the middle. Back to the bus there. Now this one got me, this green one. It's a 2A with the barbecue grill, as we call them, in the middle. It's made of galvanized metal. The Australians used to take these off and use them as barbecues, but it's got the narrow sills. I'm going to really nerd it up now. See, the sills at the bottom are really narrow like a Series 3, whereas a 2A has deeper sills. So I did first think, oh, is it a ringer? But it's not. It is a 2A. It's just I, certainly from my memory bank, cannot remember seeing a 2A with narrow sills. If I take you back to the G-Reg one rapidly, over there you'll see the blue one has got the deep sills on it. And then this one here I filmed earlier. Sorry, I didn't film earlier, I spoke to the owner earlier. This is an A-Reg Series 3, which is one of the last ones. A-Reg was the last year they made these before they went over to the 90. Now this one was a novelty for me, and I had to double check this. I said this earlier to you. It's a J-Reg Series 3, and I'm convinced that press vehicles were K-Reg Series 3s. I've never seen a J-Reg Series 3. But indeed, what gives it away is obviously the grille on the side there, and the dash is Series 3. So, you know, this one baffled me, but it must be true. I just can't ever remember seeing a J-Reg Series 3. And I did earlier in the video show you a J-Reg 2A. So it's just a crossover year. It must be a very, very early 2A. The hilarious thing about this one, and I shouldn't laugh, but my renewal's just come through and it's very expensive, so I'm very cross with the AA at the moment, is this is an AA Series 3, and the clutch has gone on it, and they've got to tow it into the exhibition stand later unless they can get the clutch up because the slave cylinder's gone. And apparently these dogs are very sought after because there's a television advert, although I don't know anything about that. I've no idea what this grill's all about unless it's got aircon. Yes, it's got aircon, hence the bulbing grill. And then we have here a B-Reg 90 look, so that's one of the first ones. Obviously been painted and stuff, makes mine look to shame, but mine's original, I like it that way. And here we go, look, Royal Air Force one at the end there, which is why I got confused when I said about the Coast Guard one earlier, because they have a yellow roof. It must be something to do with visibility, obviously. But then again, a B-Reg 90 there, early one. And we're still looking for Paul, just like the song, although I'm sure that was Linda they were looking for. I'm looking for Paul.